Hey guys. Alright, I already shared a video about this. Matt from Quantum of Conscience did this exact subject, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit more because I wanted to give my own opinions on it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you just watch Matt's video with the same picture. It's got some sort of different visual effect to it, but you'll be able to see this weirdo's face on there and recognize what it is. But I wanted to talk about these NFTs, and then specifically this Vitalik Buterin, or whatever his name is, who was the alleged founder of Ethereum, and he now has this new idea for something called Soulbound tokens. I don't even know where to start with this. Soulbound, as in bound to your soul, as in, or to bind your soul, possibly. A token to bind your soul. A token to hold your soul down to the material. Obviously, anybody who follows my channel should immediately recognize what I perceive to be some sort of a reference to the mark of the beast, and to giving up your soul, and to I guess it's all leading toward the same place, which is this merge with the digital, with the AI, and uploading your consciousness into the machine, and the material world slowly dissipating and dissolving away and being replaced by this new meta universe that they're trying to create, and in which we have this further and further disconnected connection, or disconnect from reality, and eventually it's going to be. I think it's hard to see right now, but I think that there actually is going to be a point in the not so distant future where it's difficult to distinguish between reality, the material reality, real world, and whatever this metaverse, digital universe that they're creating as an alternative. And one of the reasons I think that they are working so hard to destroy the world, the material world, is so that the people who are left scavenging through the ravaged ruins of it will have this alternative. It's like that movie Ready Player One, where the real world is just this blasted wasteland, but you can jack yourself into the machine and it is indistinguishable from reality, and you don't have to look like you. You choose your avatar, which is a much cooler version of yourself, and you interact with other people in this world, and I guess you experience it via haptics and this full immersion into the machine, which is what they want from people, because the more that you do that, the more that you're giving up, the more you're severing your connection with the God-created material world that you were placed in to live in, and that you were given dominion over, believe it or not. And so I've been thinking about this for a while, like, what are these NFTs? NFTs is, I think they explained it here, they're talking about it, it's called a non-fungible token, and if you look at the internet definition of it, it's basically some sort of piece of digital media that has its own key signature, so that when you own it, just give you an example. Like, if there's a picture on the internet, like if I wanted this lovely picture of these two creatures right here, then one thing I could do is I could just like go like this and then download image, right? And I would have all of the exact same pixels and the image quality of whatever the hell these two creatures are. And I could save it on my computer, I could print it out, I could put it on my wall, I could venerate it, or whatever it is people do with this sort of thing. But if I bought the NFT, then this image would be like holding the negative, the photo negative of whatever this image is. So if I had a film camera, and before you developed the film, in the old days, you actually had the negative, and then the negative you would take and you would enlarge it, and you would process it, and you would use chemicals in a dark room with only red light, and you would have that image developed so that it materialized onto a piece of photographic paper. Well, the digital equivalent of that is the NFT, so you have ownership of that you can prove. Now, I just thought this was really silly when I first heard about it, because people were buying art pieces that were basically what I just showed you. It's like, if you like this picture, you can own it, which is just, ridiculous, because I can just go like this, download image, right? Why do I need to buy it other than if it's some sort of way to flex your money or your ability to access things that are difficult that other people don't have access to. And it's kind of the same thing as I believe they sold these invisible statues that were also non-material, and so somebody bought a statue that literally didn't exist and it put it in his house, and he paid, like, I don't remember what it was, like $75,000 for it or something like that. Like, that's a good racket. I should get in on that racket, right? Hey, I just made this statue. It doesn't actually exist. You can't feel it, but I'll sell it to you for $75,000, and you get the ownership and the little. I guess you can unbox it, and you get like a little thing with the signature and a fancy card with a holographic image that proves that it's yours and stuff. That's like what the NFT is, and that's what it's sold as. And at first, it just seemed like this quirky internet thing, and it was like the next step up, since you have cryptocurrency, which is some sort of money. Fiat, it's kind of like fiat, but it's different, and it doesn't actually exist, and you can't hold it, and you can't feel it. It's just ones and zeros on a screen. But that's also kind of what fiat currency is, right? It just doesn't exist. For the most part, now you have cash that you can hold in your hand, but you also have the digital money now that's just numbers on a screen. And so a lot of banking is now digital. Credit cards are digital. So it's all been transferred into this alternate reality, this digital reality or unreality, that we don't actually have access to with our hands. It's just an idea. Fiat money is just an idea as well. I mean, if you really get down to it, gold and silver is also just an idea, but at least it's a commodity that's scarce and that takes work to mine. Now, some people will say that's the same thing with Bitcoin. Oh yeah, you have to work to mine it because it takes electricity, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? If there's no electricity, if there's no grid, then good luck using your Bitcoin. If there's a situation where the power doesn't work, or where, let's say, a nefarious group of people has control over the power grid, then you're going to have a little bit of a hard time using your cryptocurrency, no matter how decentralized or how much anonymity you have with your cryptocurrency, right? Do you understand how that works? So, I'm not like I have a lot of cryptocurrency in different places, and it would be nice if it would start going up again, but. So I'm not one of these people who's just like, no, I'm never going to get cryptocurrency. That's all fake and gay. But I do own it, but I also understand like the reality of what it is. Like, if I had a choice between, let's say, land and cryptocurrency, obviously land would be the better investment. Or if I had a choice between tools, like really high quality tools, gardening tools or fix-it-up tools or those sorts of things, those are more valuable than any kind of cryptocurrency, because if you need to survive, then what's gonna help you to survive? Like a wallet that's not accessible because it needs to be plugged into a computer that needs to have power from a power source, and they've shut it down, or you need some sort of vaccine in order to qualify for power or something like that. Like, I don't know, but I think I would rather have the ability to feed my family in that kind of situation. So anyway, this is the next step up in this thing, and I realized recently what NFTs are. So just in short, NFTs are a way to secure the digital ID society that is coming. And what this system wants is for every single person in the entire world to have a non-anonymous digital ID associated with their legal fiction, with their you have a name that's not really you. And right now it's all capital letters, first name all caps, last name all caps, but soon they want to turn it into this digital ID, and what the digital ID is going to have is it's going to have access to every single purchase, every single action, every single place you visit on the internet, your work history, how many breaks you took at work, what time did you start, what time did you finish, how efficient were you, what did you eat. It's gonna they're gonna attempt to have access to what's going on inside your body, which I think has something to do with the the V thing that they're doing. I already said that word once. We'll see if YouTube lets me get away with it again. And basically, they're going to have this access to this digital twin of you, this doppelganger that is a mirror image of you and everything that you do. And one of the ways that they need to make sure that they can keep track of everyone is through this digital ID. And I think that that's what these are leading to. That's also what NFTs are. So just like the way I said that, I have to be careful the way I say this if I'm going to publish this to YouTube, but the way I said that the V thing that came out in 2021 was not the last of its kind, and that soon we're going to see the the M type of V's in all sorts of V's. Every single V is going to be that brand of V, and I think it's going to transfer eventually to to other kinds of medicine and to foods and products that probably water. I mean, they're probably going to find some way to put it in the water, but you're going to have to alter your actual God-given genetics in order to participate in this system. And then this is the digital version of that, in my opinion. And I think that they are also going to try and connect it to that in some way so that they see what your blood pressure is and what your levels of this, that, and the other are, so they can monitor you. And all this is going to be connected to your social credit score. And so that's what this is about. This is about your social credit score. So you're not eating the way you should. Oh, minus a few points. Or you're not. And so what I'm getting ahead of myself, but like what these things are, these Soulbound tokens are going to be connected to, or they're going to be your social credit score. And right now it says something like, oh yeah, you can revoke them or you don't have to participate. But more and more it's going to be like a social security card or federal income tax or a driver's license or something. It's like, it's possible to get around and to avoid those things and to move through society without participating in that world. But it's almost not possible, basically. Like, try finding an employer that is willing to pay you without your having a social security number. I have never tried that, and I hear that some people manage this, but I think it would be basically near impossible, just the way that when we didn't want to participate in the madness that was happening in 2020, it was very, very difficult not to participate in some way. You at least have to engage with the madness because everyone else in society is playing along. Like, remember, we're the crazy people. Not everyone else. We're the crazy people from their perspective, and everything that they're doing makes perfect sense. So wearing a mask and doing the V thing and shutting down your business and all of the changes that have occurred since early 2020 make perfect sense within the context of what these people believe to be true, which is that they need to be protected from a killer V and that the entire world could fall down dead at any moment. And that there's a benevolent governing body, or actually multiple ones, all over the world that are all in lockstep, that all have the exact same idea, that they just want to take care of their citizens. And they are just doing these things that are hard for everyone else, but it's for the best, because it's for our protection, it's for our safety, it's for everyone's health. So okay, let's go through this argument a little bit. Stored in the soul's wallet, man. Just look at this weird looking freak. Like, what kind of cloning chamber was this guy birthed from? He does not look like a normal human to me, but anyway. And I've seen other pictures of this guy. It's like they do the thing like, what's his name? Steve Jobs used to do I always wear a black turtleneck. Like, that's his, and then Zucker was like the hoodie thing. It's so stupid. Or the what is it? The Ukraine guy, the Z guy. He always wears this stupid looking green army green T-shirt, or he tailors his stupid goofy cartoon outfit to whatever prime minister he happens to be visiting in on whatever green screen stage set they're at the time. So anyway, I think this guy too. He was wearing like the most freakish outfits I've ever seen. You can do a Google image search if you care. So let's just read some of this. Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin co-wrote a 37-page yada yada yada. Okay, so the ecosystem will be called decentralized society. Now here's the funny thing. Right off the bat, they're saying it's a decentralized thing, and they're going, well, it's on the blockchain, so it's decentralized. It's on the blockchain. Okay, well, if these things are going to be used as this article states, then there's nothing decentralized about it. It's actually going to be a centralized database of whether or not you were a good little citizen for the world government or not, right? So all of these soul-bound tokens, soul tokens that are going to be associated with your digital ID, which is going to be the source of your income and which is going to determine how you pay taxes and where you're allowed to live and what kind of food you're allowed to have and where you're allowed to move about, probably all sorts of what kind of job you're allowed to have, of course. The tax bracket you'll be in. All of these things are going to be connected to this digital ID. And so if this, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cough today. If these soulbound token things are part of that, then this decentralized society, it's kind of like what they always do. It's literally the opposite. Literally the opposite. It's as centralized as it can get. And just because it happens to be on a blockchain, don't let that fool you. So key aspect of this theoretical future is soulbound tokens, which will be available for use later this year. Oh, and then here's where the Wikipedia entry type stupid story comes about the derivation of the name. Oh, it's likely derived from World of Warcraft soulbound item, which Buterin previously. Yeah, okay. Do you think that they chose soul, the specific word soul, in connection to something that is going to determine the quality and the parameters of your life because of World of Warcraft? No, I don't think so. That's not how these people work. And so they always give some ridiculous, goofy reason that is absolutely absurd on its face, and then all of the NPCs look at them, oh, yeah, that's what it was. It was soulbound items from World of Warcraft. Oh, yeah, that checks out. All right, to continue. Oh, there they are again. Soulbound tokens are non-fungible tokens, NFTs, that a person can earn based in part on their job and education history. So you already see, like, if you're doing the work and learning and repeating the set phrases and the good boy points that they want you to say, then you're going to get these things that are connected to your digital ID that are going to be verifiable, connected to you and to no one else in the entire world because you're not anonymous anymore. Do you understand how that works? Unlike regular NFTs, they're non-transferable, so you can't like give them to other people. Although people can revoke them if they choose. Well, that's how it always starts, right? Like, oh yeah, or yeah, you can revoke them, but you'll have a credit score of 0. You'll have a social credit score of 0. So go ahead. Yeah, they'll always let you take away your points, but it's going to be very hard to get the points, and you're going to have to work within a certain set of parameters in order to earn them, and that means you're going to have to become this absolute drone for the system. SBTs, soulbound tokens, would represent a person's reputation and accomplishments. What kind of accomplishments do we see lauded now by this society? I mean, if I scream about abortion, or if I want to make an art piece and I take menstrual blood and paint an upside down cross on a canvas in menstrual blood and then submerge the entire thing in a vat of urine, well, I'll bet that I'm going to get a lot of reputation points from this system. But if I try to do something like lead a Christian life or encourage people to get married and abstain from sexual degeneracy and to have children and to raise those children in a Christian manner, then something tells me that these are not the things that are going to earn accomplishment points. I'm not going to be getting a whole bunch of soulbound token. A token is a coin, by the way. A token means a method of payment, or it's a unit of value. So something tells me I'm not going to be getting too many of these units of value if I'm not doing the kinds of things that this society, this ever more reprobate society, asks of me. So yeah, it's going to be an extended resume. That's right. It's going to be everything about you, and it will be accessible to anybody who is above you in the system. I mean, you think that we have a class-based system now? It's going to be so caste-based. It's going to be corporate overlords and then everyone below them on a sliding scale of how much you contribute to the horror and degeneracy and the ever-growing, voracious, all-consuming consumer nature of this beast, right? Okay, let's continue. The idea is to bolster people's social identities. Let's just jump back up here and just, it was decentralized, remember? It was decentralized, but you're going to have a social identity by customizing them with unique, non-exchangeable badges. Oh, isn't that cool? It's like collecting Pokemons. In theory, the tokens could help solve some of the problems ravaging decentralized finance, like scams and theft, something that's not even really a problem. Oh, by the way, these problems, they're allowed to happen because the whole thing is problem, reaction, solution. Like, for example, on Telegram right now, the place is absolutely infested with bots, and it would be the easiest thing in the world for Durov to go in and clean up all the bots and make a system where you could recognize, I mean, we know right away which is a bot and what's not a bot. You can recognize it right away, and you could easily make a system that cleans these things up without us having to do so much work, but they're being allowed to fester and to propagate all over Telegram because they want to do the problem, reaction, solution thing where they say, oh, well, you have to get rid of the bots. There's this big problem with bots, so we need to make sure that we identify everybody and that you're a real human. And that's what the same thing that they were talking about doing with Twitter. That's the same long con with the Elon Musk Twitter thing. It's like, oh, there's just this big problem with bots. Well, the big problem with bots was allowed to happen on purpose. It always serves multiple purposes. For example, oh, well, they're farming consensus for one thing, and they're making it look like people support something that's absolutely horrifying, like abortion or something like that. And there are other reasons for it, like selling things, data mining, all these other things. But then the other reason that we get into now is like, oh, there's a big problem with bots. Look at all these bots. Oh, gosh, guys, what are we going to do about all these bots? Well, we just have to verify everybody. You have to prove that you're a real human. Give us your phone number, your driver's license, your social security card. Take a picture of your face, and then also you have to keep the picture of your face and keep your first name and last name as your social media account. But that's what the digital ID is going to be. See, and all of these are just steps easing us toward that world. Okay, so that, and again, that's what this is about. That's what NFTs are about. That's what SBTs are about. SBT just makes it really obvious because they call it Soulbound. I just can't get over this name with this Mark of the Beast stuff. Anyway, social identities by customizing them with blah, 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 blah. Scams. I already read that. College degrees and soul drop. Oh, soul drop. Drop the soul down into the abyss, perhaps, into hell. Okay. There are very few, not very few. There are a few ways we could use these tokens in real life, according to the paper. Suppose universities started issuing degrees as soulbound tokens. Employers began giving soulbound tokens to workers, or event organizers dole out SBTs to attendees. Those credentials could make it more difficult for scammers to impersonate someone and easier for prospective employers to verify history or training when considering hiring. Okay, first of all, has this ever in the world become a problem? Has this ever in the world been a big issue where we don't know who somebody is, we don't have an interview process, we don't have a vetting process, the diploma itself isn't enough, the college record itself isn't enough to check on people? No, we now have to have some digital ID that's connected to every aspect of your life that can be searched in a database and that is non-anonymous, and you can't do anything without the entire world being able to see it anymore, just because there's this massive problem of just you having an ID and a record at a college wasn't enough because there's all these people who are like getting jobs posing as someone else. Sorry, I don't think this is a big problem, and it's certainly not a big enough problem that we need to create this entire new thing for, right? Here's more. Tokens could help decentralize autonomous organizations. Here's a new stupid acronym, DAO, which is like the Tao. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it's like there's a reason for it. Tao Te Ching, DAO. Sorry. Or groups without a hierarchical or singular leader more easily summon members for an event or cause. Like email's not doing that enough already. An environmentally minded DAO, for example, could airdrop SBTs to people that already have environmental action SBTs. This is so stupid. I can't even believe I'm reading this. A person's SBT would then be validated by other souls. Oh yeah, souls, sure. For people who can, or people who can vouch for you and the credential or accomplishment you're earning a token for, similar to how a LinkedIn connection can verify a skill of yours. All of these would be stored in a wallet on the blockchain, not unlike so it's a digital ID. You understand what I'm saying? What's the point? Oh, I'll tell you what the point is. It's digital ID, and that's what this whole thing is moving toward. And by the way, the NFTs are like digital IDs for things as well, so that they can track literally everything. There's going to be NFTs for everything so that it can be connected to your digital ID so that there is a database of every single action that occurs in the entire world, because that's what that ugly eyeball at the top of that stupid pyramid is all about. It's about needing to see everything. That's why they call it the all-seeing eye. They're trying to beam it into existence. So, shall I continue? Do I really need to? Let's go ahead. It wasn't that long of an article. There's only like this much left. According to Buterin and his co-authors, SBTs could specifically help push Web3 forward by decreasing blah, 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 I don't know, digital selves. Yeah, people more ownership of their digital self. So again, they're just memeing into existence the idea that you have a digital self, that there is a digital twin of you, that this is necessary. And then once that is a reality, they're like, well, you already have one. I mean, they already know all this stuff about you to begin with. And like the system already has everything that you already, all your web history and stuff, it's already done. All this is just one more step, and it makes it easier because, there's these scammers and stuff. We got to make sure that these scammers don't take advantage of people, because there's this big problem with people that are just forging diplomas, and we can't just call the university and check if they actually live there and then check their driver's license, or attended class there and then check their driver's license or something like that. So anyway, NFT artists are often forced to rely on centralized places like Twitter or OpenSea, and blah, 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 blah. Let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about here. Yeah. For one, NFTs are transferable, and whoever owns them can sell them to others. So this is even better because you can't sell it. So it's permanently connected to you. And again, the college thing. Oh, they didn't attend college and complete their programs. This is such a huge problem. Trust me. Yeah, I can't just call the college and find this out. Fuck's sake. Or check online. Jesus. Yeah, are colleges really just selling online to people? Are they really doing this? That risk is, in theory, abated with SBTs. This massive problem that we have to have a digital ID to get rid of, right? It'd be more difficult for people to buy their status and achievements. No. I'm pretty sure people with the right kind of money and the right kind of achievement and the right kind of immoral bent towards what they're willing to do, they'll still be able to buy their status and achievements with these things. They'll still be able to get whatever soul-bound tokens that they need. And people who are moral and Christian are, well, it's going to be really easy for those to be taken away from people. Like, you thought that just losing your Facebook account, getting a 30-day ban on Facebook was bad. Just wait till you have a digital ID that's connected to literally everything you do, and the entire world is a surveillance state. Now, again, I don't say this stuff so that you get scared. I say this stuff so that you understand that that's what the cost of buying into the system and participating in it is going to be in the next decade or so. And so you should be doing everything that you can. Why am I getting so many Telegram alerts right now? You should be doing everything that you can. This is annoying. I'm going crazy. To get off of the system. Of course, now it's going to give me the spinning ball of death. Sorry, guys. I'm extremely annoyed by all these Telegram alerts, and now the whole thing's acting crazy. Let me just shut these down and I'll finish up. Good grief. Oh yeah, now my computer's freezing. That's great. Okay. Anyway, how much more of it? This is it. This is the last of it. As Buterin wrote in his January post, discussing World of Warcraft Spellbound items. Yeah, I'm sure that really is what he cares about so much. Making more items in the crypto space, Soulbound can be one path toward an alternative where NFTs can represent much more of who you are, not just what you can afford. Anyway, World of Warcraft was probably some massive social experiment. TikTok now is this massive social experiment. NFTs are definitely a massive social experiment. The AI generated images where you put in a couple of terms, and the Dolly one is the newest one that's really creepy. These are feeding your data into this system, and the system learns about you. Let's go back up to this freak's face. I'll leave you guys with this weirdo. The system learns more and more about you, and then uses that information against you. These AI, whatever this supercomputer that they have running this whole thing, all of the operations that they do, all of the weird, I want to say false flags, but they're just all fake. All of the fake bang bang operations that they do, and then they read all the social media, they see how many people are falling for it, they see what they get away with, they can see how many people react to Matthew McConaughey snickering as he talks about some person who didn't exist having something that never happened happen to her, and then having to give up rights that are your God-given rights because of that, because of some person who doesn't even exist. And they are checking. It's constantly looking. It's constantly using its gross Luciferian eye at the top of the pyramid to monitor, and then it always needs. It's just this constant, nonstop, voracious hunger for more and more of this data, and that's what the digital IDs are going to finally be about. Is all of your life is going to eventually become a mirror, and that mirror is like a portal. It allows things in. It allows this demonic system to have complete control over you. And what are you going to do about it? Well, there really is only one solution, and the solution is to reject it every single time that an offer is made. And do what you can. I don't think that it's feasible to live completely off of the system because of the thing that I mentioned earlier, and that so many people are participating in the system. Who isn't participating in the system? We are on the computer right now, so obviously we're participating in the system. You're paying taxes. You're probably working for an employer. You're driving a car. You have a driver's license. You have a social security number. You pay. I already said that, but all these things. But the more you reject like the new needs, the new offers that it makes, the more you will be able to weather the storm if the system tries to threaten you because you're not doing the thing that it wants to. So a really good example, this is what Matt mentioned in his talk about this today too, is that the first time that they did the operation in 2020, and then they said you need to get a V, I think not a lot of people, I think less people than they hoped got it right overall. And I mentioned this the other day. I was like, yeah, more people like in the world, the vast majority of people fell for the whole thing, and they thought there really was a killer V, the other kind of V, and they went along with all of the measures, the C measures, but a lot of people didn't necessarily go along with getting the V thing in their arm, and that's a problem. Okay, so they need as many people as possible to get that in there. I don't know why. I don't know all the reasons that they want to get those things into people's bodies, but it's very important to them. So the next time they do a big thing and they say you need to get a V, then you're already going to have a digital ID. It's already going to be connected to your social credit score, and your social credit score goes down when you don't do what they say. Now, what are the consequences of that? That means you don't qualify for a loan anymore, or that means you can't get this job anymore, or that means you can't go into this store anymore. That means you can't shop at this place anymore. That means you can't travel anymore. That means you can't leave a certain restricted area possibly anymore. Those are the offers that are going to be made in the meantime, where if you're in that world, then you will be subject to the consequences that come with going against what the system wants, because the system needs to herd its cattle. It needs all of its useless eaters to move in the direction that it wants. And I don't like referring to people like that, but that's the way that people are acting. And so, unfortunately, they're going to get treated accordingly by the system. And if you don't want to be one of them, then you can't be one of them. You cannot do the things that they do. You cannot tie yourself to the system in the way that it wants in accepting its offers. And so each new offer that comes, you're going to need to build your own alternative. You're going to need to find other people who agree with you, at least even in part, even if they just agree with you in part, and say, okay, well, the number of places I'm allowed to shop at now has been limited, but you know what? I have eggs from here and chickens from here and vegetables from here. It doesn't all have to come from you. You make friends with people who have different things that they do, who have different things that they can offer you, and then you offer them something in return. So there's always going to be alternatives, and I think there's actually going to be more alternatives now than there were in the past because more and more people are aware of this. And a lot of people, I think there are always going to be a core amount of people who are not going to go along with all this. Like for me, for one, if there's like ever a situation where no matter what happens, I have to get the V, it won't happen. I would die first. I would die first. My kids will never get it. I'll never get it. Ever. My family will never get it. And so I think there are a lot of people like that. And so that's a line that a lot of people are never, ever, ever going to cross. And that means there's always going to be alternatives because those people are going to find each other and they're going to do what they have to do to take care of each other, right? And the more that the system attacks those people, the more galvanized they are going to be and the more willing and motivated to help one another they're going to be. So I think that's a really good thing. So keep your eyes open for those sorts of things in the future. And then like freaks like this, like whatever their new demonic little mark of the beast, the mark of the beast currency is going to be, isn't going to affect you in any way. All right, you guys take care. Hail Christ.